Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time I'm playing in the Tier 8 German premium medium tank. It is the Panzer 58 Mutz, and today I'm going to be trying to take this vehicle to a whole new level and achieve my third mark of excellence. Now this tank has been in the game for about a year and a half now, and what's special about the Mutz is it was the first of Wargaming's new era of premium tanks that started pretty much in the first quarter of 2016. And what was special about this new era of premium tanks, you might be asking? Well, it marked where Wargaming decided that they didn't want to have anything to do with preferential matchmaking, i.e. not having to meet vehicles that are 2 tiers higher than you, or in some cases even 1 tier higher than you. But what this meant is that they wanted premium tanks to be just as good as their tier 8 counterparts, and of course the Mutz matches up fairly nicely to the Indian Panzer, and the Indian Panzer isn't really a bad vehicle, and so that means that this has got to be a great tier 8, right? In fact, when this went into the game for the first time, I thought it was probably one of, if not the best, tier 8 premium tanks that was available. And it was quickly followed up by vehicles such as, I guess, the Scorpion, which, wow, that was amazing. Then we had the Patriot, the Defender, the list goes on, and, well, we'll see how it's going to be going in the future, and the community is definitely on a knife edge with their opinion on premiums. But I don't really want to focus on all of that shenanigans right now. I just want to focus on the Mutz and why I think it's great. And that's because the Mutz doesn't really suck at anything. There's nothing that's bad about this tank. It's got 380 meters view range, 212 millimeters of penetration on its standard rounds, 260 on its premium rounds, 240 alpha, incredible aim time. Its aim time isn't incredible, it's 2.3 seconds. What is great about this vehicle, however, is the dispersion values. It just feels like you don't have to stop to shoot in this tank and still be fairly accurate. We're talking about 0.1 on its turret traverse and 0.18 on the tank moving. Well, that wasn't really a good example of it, was it? We definitely did have to stop moving to shoot at that Yank Tiger. But the Mutz just feels really good at firing on the move from medium, especially, I guess, compared to its tier 8 German premium tank counterpart, the Panther 88, and everyone who's tried that out, even I guess with the buffs that the vehicle has had recently, will know just how much better the Mutz feels in the gun handling department. The accuracy, 0.36, not great, not bad. The health points, 1,300, not great, not bad. The armor, at least at the front, it's 90 millimeters on the hull, 120 on the turret. The only real downside to this vehicle is the fact that the side armor is rather weak indeed. We're talking about 30 millimeters of side armor here. And that means that if you have a 91 millimeter caliber gun and you're firing armor piercing or APCR ammunition, you should shoot at the side of the Mutz. Not only will you track it, but you're going to overmatch the side of the vehicle, and you're going to do awesome damage to the tank. But let me stop talking about how to take the Mutz out effectively, and let me talk about how I like to play the Mutz and how plays like we're going to be seeing in this game have enabled me to, I guess, finish. I don't even know. Mark of Excellence means that I think you're in the top 95. Your damage and your assistance added together are in the top 5% of the best players for the previous 2 weeks. I think that that's how it works out. So, for example, I think if people have gained, say, 10,000 combined damage, and that would be incredible, right? Then you have to get 9,500 to be able to achieve your third mark. And that's a tough order in a lot of tanks, especially the premium ones, which players seem to play a lot more of. But I have to admit, I think the Mutz has fallen out of favor now that there are just so many vehicles around, especially in the summer sales, like the STA2 has come out. I think it's 30% off currently on the European server, at least for the next few days. All of those tanks, maybe people have forgotten about the Mutz and why it was so great in the first place. And you guys voted for me to play this tank on Sunday, I believe, or was it, maybe it was Sunday, Tuesday. It doesn't even really matter which day you guys voted for me to play it, but what does matter is when I managed to get back in and play this tank, I thoroughly did enjoy it. It was 30 tons of fun. How much does this tank actually specifically weigh? Well, 35 tons. I was pretty close. Wow, the reactions on that T-25 pilot, not particularly good there, and that allows me to track him in place and hold him still, and I get a nice bit of tracking assistance in addition to the damage that I deal. And of course, if you're going for your marks of excellence, doing spotting and tracking your opponents is just as valuable as damaging them yourselves. And in your tier 8 medium tanks, you've got really poor DPM. This vehicle has 1,800 DPM. That's way lower than many of the should we say, best-in-class tier 6 premium mediums, like the T3485M or even the Cromwell Berlin. And so you're 2 whole tiers higher. Everybody has a hell of a lot more hit points. And I really think that assistance damage starts to come into its own around about tier 8 premium. Well, tier 8 premium? Tier 8 medium, I should say, and this being a premium medium. And if you want to start to hit your marks of excellence, it's not enough to just be doing raw damage by itself. And so that's why I'm constantly thinking about putting myself at the front. And oh, there we go. Lovely Mutz on the move firing there. The reticle just seems to stay so small, and so that means you can just pop up, shoot, pull back. Other tanks, it just doesn't feel like I could be doing this as carefully as I am. Unfortunately for me, however, looks like the T25 pilot manages to jam one into my turret on the move, but that doesn't stop me from putting 3 rounds into the back of that T69. And oh gosh, maybe if I just max rolled out a little bit there. Well, actually I did. Gosh, 272 is a jolly good old roll against the back of that T69. So I'd like to highlight the positions that I've used so far in this game. Firstly, I worked the bushes up here. And the bushes along here allow you to have view range. Basically, you'll be able to spot some people up towards the hill, but primarily what I'm trying to do is to spot people like the T-34 and anyone in this location here. Then, because we've held the field and my team have advanced along there, that means that I can take a whole new position. If I was to hang back there, I wouldn't be getting all of the spotting and the damage on these targets. You've got to be thinking about constantly progressing and being at the front, but not ever putting yourself in a position where you can be isolated. This is of key importance for when you're, not only when you're scouting, but when you're trying to scout with your medium tanks as well. Now let's think, what was the worst thing that could happen in that situation? I guess the T25 pilot could say, oh, I've had enough of you, QuickyBaby, I'm coming after you, as what a lot of people do. He's going to rush me. Hopefully then the Scorpion and the T54 and possibly even the T10 would be able to get shots into him, as he would be sitting completely out in the open. But there's no doubt that I would be losing some hit points. And as I mentioned, in your tier 8 mediums, you don't have the DPM to shoot your way out of trouble, as you would do at tier 6, tier 7, and then again the DPM steps up when you hit tier 9 again. So that's something to take into account. But from this location, I can basically just provide some view range all the way across the field here. Right now I'm trying to jam my tank up a little bit to be able to change the view angle and hopefully try and catch something out like this Jagdtiger and put a jolly good round into the rear half of his vehicle. But I do get spotted there. I'm going to fire one blind. We'll have to see if that did go in. He was on about 1,900 hit points the last time he was spotted. Hopefully he'll be down to the 1,700 mark if we did hit him blind there, but we can't be sure. So this game right now is neck and neck. It looks like there are 8 kills on either side. There's a mouse on both teams and a tier 10 self-propelled gun. Wow, it really is even Stevens. Well, it doesn't look like I hit that Jagdtiger there. He was still just under 1,900 hit points. But our second round does go in, and our third round ricochets off him. Oh my word. Gosh, get it out. Get that commentary going, buddy. But now that the Jagdtiger has fallen back, that should hopefully allow the T10 to make his way in. And there we go. There's the snapshots. This is what I'm talking about. One of the reasons why I absolutely love the Mutz is that I just keep firing and it seems to work. It just doesn't seem to miss. And even in a tier 10 matchup like this, although I haven't really been shooting any tier 10 tanks so far, this was a fairly nice tier 10 matchup. I guess with the new matchmaker that all tier 10 matchups like this are fairly nice because there are only 3 top tier vehicles on the enemy team. And the Mutz is the kind of tank that doesn't really rely on having to deal with low tier tanks. So, I've decided, with a mouse up on top of the hill with the VK101P and the Jagdtiger all the way to the south, I want to try and advance to be able to get some shots into the Jagdtiger. But now I ignore him as I know that I'm going to have to deal with the self-propelled guns on the enemy team. So far we're sitting at about 5,000 damage combined. That's great for a tier 8 tank, but I'm greedy, I want a little bit more. I put one into the top of the GW Tiger P. He misses me. I'm keeping an eye on the Jagdtiger, and I notice there's a GWE100 on the enemy team. So I finish off the Tiger P, and now I turn my attention to trying to get into cover behind the Tiger P. I shoot the GWE100 once in the tracks. He uses his repair kit and turns his tank around. Now I jam one into the lower plate, and this is where hopefully I can just squeeze some more. Oh, well, of course, I'm not going to act all surprised. That did happen to me, and let's take a look at where that shell went. So would you believe the shell went right through the air? It went over the Tiger P's gun. Can you believe that? And hits me in my cupola. Oh my word. What a complete and utter heartbreak there. Look at that shot. I was pretty much completely covered by the wreck of the artillery. And of course, if a high explosive shell hits a dead tank, it gets completely absorbed. And while that GWE 100 certainly did save his bacon with that clutch shot, it didn't really matter in the end of this game, as my team managed to finish them off. And while undoubtedly that artillery stopped me from being able to go on to get some hero medals in this round, we get the most important one, and that is a third mark of excellence on the Mutz. As we did get 5,500 combined damage and assistance this game. Now, that's not exactly very remarkable for a tier 8 tank. Sure, it's a good game and we pick up an ace tanker, but considering this was a round where we were facing tier 8 to tier 10 opponents, 5.5k isn't half bad. And if you can use the vehicle's well-rounded nature to still do well against tier 10 vehicles, then you can really lap it up when you're facing those tier 6s and tier 7s. And thankfully, as we didn't fire any premium rounds, I believe in this game, we make 110,000 credits profit. And if we take away the chocolate consumable that I used at 10,000 credits, because I always pre-purchase them at a discount, that's still 100k pure profit. So the Panzer 58 Mutz is definitely one of the most well-rounded tier 8 premium vehicles that you could pick up. And as a jack of all trades, it gives you the flexibility you need to adapt yourself to whatever situation that arises. Sure, other tanks have better guns, better armor, better mobility, better view range, but usually these come at the expense of some blaring weakness, which the 58 Mutz just doesn't have. And so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below what you think about the Panzer 58 Mutz, especially if you have one. Is it still your go-to vehicle when you want to have some fun and make some credits at the same time, or have you moved on to other vehicles, and if so, why? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.